I think one of John's best qualities is just the ability to look forward and recognize where we're going into the future, and then provide staff with educational articles and news, what's going on in the community and the country, so that we're not, as John has said, don't become a dinosaur. So I think
John's best quality, I think, is that there's always a smile on his face. He's always willing to listen to your concern or your suggestion for improvement, and he gets things done. But it's the smile and the way he goes through life, acting out that smile. That's his best quality.
I think John's best qualities are his sense of humor and his real humility. He doesn't try to put on airs or answer questions he doesn't know the answer to. He really listens to what people are asking and responds from his best perspective.
I think John's best quality is that he is in all the buildings. John knows all the employees. He comes over and he helps whenever he can, regardless of what his busy schedule dictates. He's been our umpire. He's served cookies. He's just been an extra hand helping in this department. So John, for that, I'm going to miss you very much. We always can use an extra hand.
What is John's best quality? His humor, his disposition. Even though he had a lot of things to do, he went out of his way to go to distance house and to work with me, and that was great.
For me, when I thought about the characteristics that he's had his entire career, and those obviously being a part of your personality and coming along when he was fortunate enough to come here, I think his integrity, that's just always been a true part of his nature. And his compassion for people and situations, that's been something that's always been a part of him. Big part of him is his humor, which I'm sure everyone at the village will say, yes, sometimes I think it has to be explained, but it's there. And goodness knows, I agree. Boy, if you don't have humor, it's going to be a long, sad day, that's for sure. And I think his inclusiveness of people, again, in situations, those are characteristics that I've seen him have his whole life and work well for him in his career, and particularly here at South Bend, because he has, truly so many fantastic people that he's worked with that, it's become a part of them too. So
John's best quality is he's engaged, he understands the mission, and he walks the talk every day. I really haven't seen a CEO behave in the way that John has and does with respect to the mission. He keeps the brothers at the fore, he keeps the residents at the fore, and then manages to do all the administrative things that are assigned to him. So he's one of a kind.
One story that comes to mind involved John's commitment to making safety at Holy Cross a priority, a top priority. I was delivering printed documents to one of our village residents on a cold March evening, and after ringing the doorbell and getting no response, I deposited the documents in the mailbox. As I turned to leave, I slipped on the ice and fell to the ground. The result was a fractured wrist that required emergency room treatment. Well, the next morning, John followed up to make sure that the proper protocol was observed. He then visited the accident scene. He listened to possible solutions to prevent this from happening again. He wasn't satisfied with what he was hearing, so he took action himself. He got a roll of yellow tape, the kind they put up that says crime scene investigation. He hung the tape himself. This simple gesture became a reminder to all that the tape would stay up until a permanent fix was installed. That was John. He did not always dictate solutions because he didn't have all the answers, but you could always count on him to do something, to draw attention to the issues that needed his involvement, especially safety ones. Thank you, John.
My favorite story about John is when we first moved in the first day, Doggy and me. I didn't realize that there was somebody else in the apartment that had a dog also. So all of a sudden we were shocked when we found that this lovely Labradoodle came through, flying through the door, and both dogs were very interested in each other. At any rate, this very kind gentleman said, "Oh, you have a dog too?" And I said, "Yes." So anyway, he finally said he was living in the apartment temporarily, and the dog was going to be there temporarily. And we had just a fine meeting, but he failed to tell me who he was, and that was the CEO. I soon found out later what a CEO really he was. My dog did die 3 weeks after I moved in. And as soon as he found out that that happened, he was over knocking at my door and wanted to be a part of my sympathy, because he was a dog lover too. And he just gave me a big hug, and at that point I felt like I was anchored at a home. And I knew that this was the place for me. Wasn't too long after that I got another dog though. So all was well, and I really feel at home at Holy Cross Village.
Funny story about John's career. When I first started thinking about this, I thought, oh my gosh, there's got to be 1,000. And then I thought more, and I thought, it's just kind of individual situations that have happened along the way that have been humorous, I think, at the time. And the first one I thought of is not really that funny. I think it puts in perspective how John has approached his career all along. And that was when he first began. He was at St. Anne Home in Fort Wayne. And his very first week and his first day that he was to be there was when the big snowstorm of 1978, 76, whenever that was, when that hit, and literally nothing in the whole city was moving. I mean, you could not open your door because the snow was up at the top of it. And that was his first day of work, was to be there. Well, they sent out a snowmobile and got him into St. Anne, and that's where he stayed for almost a week and a half. He had people there helping him, and he would be able to go out and get staff members in, and nurses, and the housekeeping staff and food service. So I look back on that and I guess I smile, because I think, wow, that kind of puts it in perspective as to how he's approached things all along.
My favorite story about John is actually a visit that we had in Boston, Massachusetts. We went for a convention for Leading Age last October, and we arrived in Boston on Halloween, and we were to meet John in the lobby of the hotel. So we arrive and go down to the lobby, and there's really no one around, but there is a person sitting in the lobby in a mummy costume. So Barb Cassidy and myself are just standing there waiting, and the person in the mummy suit walks up to us, and we're not quite sure what to do. And he says, hello, in a cheerful voice, and we look into the eyes of a mask that he's wearing, and it's John. He is fully in costume for Halloween and prepared to walk out and be in Boston in his full costume for Halloween. So that would be my favorite memory of John. And we proceeded to go out to dinner in a very nice restaurant, and John continued to keep his costume on the entire time. So that is a great memory of John.
What I'd like to wish for John is that he finds a way in retirement to use his gifts in a different way that are less stressful, more pressure-free, and I'm sure he'll figure out a way to do that. So, John, best wishes.
And I just want to wish you well and hope you have a happy retirement as I have had. And you've been a great leader here in the community. Thank you so much.
I think what we will miss most about John, leaving, as somebody has mentioned, his senses of humor and his ability to get things done for us as we call it. Because I've heard many people say, "Oh, I picked up the phone, I called John, and it was all taken care of immediately," and they appreciated that. And I would like to just give him one word of advice when he leaves here. When you retire, you're supposed to take a trip. And I hope he takes a nice trip and so he can relax and come back to begin retirement, so, which is a whole new life. So.
I want to say to John as he leaves, to have a great retirement, enjoy Connie and all the grandkids and everything that life has to offer. I wish you the best and Godspeed. I think what I'll miss most about John leaving is I won't have that friend in meetings anymore. For 33 years, John and I have bantered back and forth, and at this point, we are in simpatico. We finish each other's sentences. We're like an old married couple, and so I feel for Connie. And also, Connie, you are going to be the new IT person for John. So when John can't sign in, he won't call me at 7:20 in the morning. He'll be calling you. So I wish you both the best.